Hey everybody, it's Katrina Russell again, and I hope you are staying safe and healthy. I don't know, month 612 of coronavirus, whatever it is. And it's really starting to grate on me. And I'm trying not to make this political because I feel like I do that a lot, and I have always been an independent. I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, but lately the Democrats are driving me crazy. They're so adamant on keeping coronavirus a problem. So most places, even if cases are on the rise, deaths are practically nothing because people can be sick without dying, and it happens all the time, and it's basically a really, really, really bad cold. So depending on your immunity and depending on how it is, most people are just fine with this. That's not to lessen the deaths that have already occurred, and that's not to say don't wear your masks in public or don't social distance or don't do whatever, but it's become, I feel like the Democrats are making it, let's see how many people can die so we can blame Trump. Let's keep the entire economy locked down so we can blame Trump. Let's never let kids back to school so we can blame Trump. I feel like they're not actually trying to fix or help. And as bad as the coronavirus is, there's a lot of other people who are dying or almost dying or having severe depression, severe mental health issues, just really bad situations coming out of this. People losing everything, their businesses, their houses, their relationships. During lockdown, they were talking about how kids were getting beaten and spouses were getting beaten and overdoses were on the rise and suicide rates were on the rise, and now people are literally rioting in the streets over insanity. And I think a lot of that is because people feel powerless, and the government has literally taken over our lives. I know this young girl. I'm not going to get into any information about her, but she's a young adult, but young girl. She's had mental health issues her whole life, and she can't do anything. She was between therapists when this started. She was having trouble with the therapist she was seeing. She was looking for a new therapist, and no therapists want to meet anybody. They'll do telehealth, but this girl does not feel comfortable, especially without knowing someone, to do telehealth. And I get that. She's not the only one. Lots of people have trouble with this. A lot of doctors aren't taking new patients. A lot of hospitals aren't taking new admittance for mental health issues because they're afraid they're going to mix them with the COVID people. Overdoses. People can't go to work and they can't go out to eat and they can't socialize, but believe me, they can get in touch with their drug dealers, and now they're all stuck in their homes by themselves, and overdoses are skyrocketing. There was a survey taken, and 60% of the country is depressed, according to this survey. And I don't think that the people in charge are like they're thinking about this. It's I get that the COVID is bad, and I get that 170,000 people have died, I do think most of that was mismanagement. Most of that was the government putting sick people back into nursing homes with other weak, immune people. I think that was a huge problem. I think if that didn't happen, the numbers would have been sliced in half practically. It would have looked like a bad flu, but more like a bad flu. I think, and I don't want to sound like a horrible person, but I feel like that happened mostly in Democrat states. Like, say, New York. New York had all this boat and this extra hospitals and all these things set up, and they didn't use them. They didn't use any of them. They just blamed Trump for everything. And I'm not a Trump supporter. I think Trump's a moron most of the time. But I feel like they've basically sold out the American people to make him look bad. And they killed, because putting sick people back into nursing homes killed people. And I think they killed people, and I think that they're letting the economy crash. They're holding up the stimulus package again. They did it last time. They're doing it again for their own purposes, to get other things passed that they know won't regularly be passed. So they figure this is the chance to do it. They have to give the people their money. So we're going to pass through Green New Deals and extra money for craziness that doesn't really matter, because all that matters is that people are getting evicted and people are losing their houses and people are not able to feed their children and people can't go back to school, and those are the things that matter. But I feel like everyone is so... I feel like it would have been exactly the same if this had happened when Obama was president, or if it happens, whatever. I feel like the Republicans would do exactly the same thing. I'm not going to say it's just the Democrats, because I feel like that's what the country has become. It's an us or them, and we'll let the country crumble just to blame it on them. And they use any excuse to just cause problems, and it's the American public that suffers. I mean, 170,000 people are dead when I think half of them wouldn't be if they took care of the nursing homes properly. And if they counted them properly. If someone gets in a car accident with COVID, that's not a COVID death. And to be honest, it wouldn't surprise me if they're counting the overdoses and the suicides, because they're like, well, it's because of COVID. These people were depressed, or they were what have you. And I think it's gross. I think we need to open up the world and just wear masks, socially distance, take the chances that you can take, stay away from grandma, do Zooms with grandma, whatever. But stop fighting each other all the time. This is the time. Like, I remember after September 11th happened, the world was, this nation came together. There was such grief, and I thought that was going to happen again. I mean, I wasn't hoping for the pandemic, but when I heard about the pandemic and we were all staying home and we all had something to fight for and we were all talking about saving our own lives, not our personal lives, but each other's lives, I thought that this was going to be another great bonding moment. But instead, I have never in my life seen the country so divisive. Ever. People are literally rioting. Portland's on literally almost 3 months straight of rioting and blowing things up in the streets. Destroying businesses everywhere. Big cities, murder rates on the rise, by hundreds of %. And I feel like the left is not stopping it because they're blaming the right. And again, I don't think it would be any different. I think the right would blame the left if they were in charge. I think that politicians would rather win than save one American life. And I think it's disgusting. And that's all I wanted to say, is that we need to stop giving the politicians the power. We need to take the power away from politicians. And we need to start reaching out to our fellow man and our fellow Americans and trying to come with some options that aren't killing each other in the streets. That's what I think. I think we need to get rid of these people who've been in office for 50 years saying, oh, it's his fault that this is happening. It's their fault. If we were in power, you've been in power for 50 years. This is the America you made. I think we need to put term limits. I think we need to really look at the Constitution and what it says and remind us that we, the people, are in charge of this country and that the garbage going on in Congress and with the president is disgusting, and that our lives as Americans, I don't want to say matter because I don't want to start a whole BLM thing, but every life, every one of those 170,000 people, every one of the drug overdoses, every one of the suicides, everyone who's lost a business, they all matter. And that's what I think we need to let our government know. Anyway, like, subscribe, share, follow, whatever it is. And thank you. Have a nice day.